Iraqi forces have secured the southern edge of the city of Fallujah in their attempt to recapture it from Islamic State. It comes as the United Nations confirm 50,000 civilians are trapped and being used as human shields by militants. Aid agencies are warning those who are trying to flee are being fired at. Otago University international relations expert Robert Patman joins me now. Robert, morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. It was only a few weeks ago that the US were effectively telling us that Fallujah was not, it was not necessary to recapture Fallujah, that it was not a priority. What has changed in the last few weeks?
What has changed is that in early May, Baghdad came under a spate of suicide bombings, and Mr. al-Abadi, the Prime Minister, decided, apparently for political reasons, that because Fallujah was suspected to be the source of those bombings, that he had to take action on Fallujah. The other thing was the key strategic priority for the Iraqi government has been Mosul, which is the headquarters of ISIS. But that is a big city of 1.8 million people, and that's proving very difficult to make progress with for logistical reasons. So they've gone for a smaller target, Fallujah, which may not be easier.
And, of course, we're talking about a target which is, what, less than an hour's drive from Baghdad. What is playing out there now is a humanitarian crisis that the whole world can see. So we've got about 50,000 citizens trapped in Fallujah. When they try and escape, they have to go across the river. They are being shot and killed as they try and escape, and the world is watching this. It seems extraordinary in such a contained area that no one, that the might of the world can't sort this out.
Well, it's almost symptomatic of the broader international failure to deal with this problem. You're quite right. We've learnt in the last 24 hours or so that the 50,000 or so civilians who are attempting to flee the city, first of all, that ISIS have always made it clear they wouldn't allow them to, and now they've backed that up by shooting them. So it's a desperate situation. And there's another problem here, Paul, and that is that the regular Iraqi army is responsible for actually the prime thrust of the military operation, but they're also backed by Shia militias, and this is a largely Sunni population. So the Sunni population is seeking largely to leave Fallujah, but they're also very worried about reprisals for living under ISIS from some of the Shia militias. So it's a very tricky situation.
To what extent, because we've got some skin in the game here, New Zealand, and the US have a lot of skin in the game, to what extent will the US be watching this and looking to see some kind of credibility from the Iraqi government and military?
Well, I think the US and New Zealand have invested a lot of political capital, so to speak, in improving the training of the Iraqi army. And there has been progress. Ramadi was captured, a very important city, in early January, and there have also been signs that the ISIS have been losing territory. They've lost about 30% of the territory they previously controlled in Iraq. Also, the bombing campaign, which has been intensified since this anti-ISIS coalition was formed in September 2014, that bombing campaign has meant that ISIS has basically its ability to produce oil and sell it has been limited, which in turn means it's struggling now to pay its fighters. And they've also come under constant drone attacks, or at least key players in ISIS, and that in turn has caused enormous suspicion in the organisation. We know, for example, not only are they cash-strapped, but they're actually killing their own fighters on suspicion that they have given information. Given the desperate economic circumstances of some of their fighters, it's believed within ISIS that some of their fighters have actually been seeking money for information, and that's led to a spate of drone attacks.
Yeah, and this could be the downfall, economic downfall of ISIS, because as a militant group, ISIS have been the best funded. That was one of the things they were the best at, and so hurting them in the pocket is genuinely hurting them. And as you say, they are losing ground. So we'll watch this space very closely. Robert, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Robert Patman, Otago University international relations expert. So it is good news, but in the short term, for those that are trapped and being used as human shields in Fallujah, it is everyone's nightmare.